we shine, giving fans what they need. Caribbean spirit, let's succeed. Every show with a good deed. Together we plant the seed. Ride along, join the dance, let's sing the song. From island to island strong, with the host we belong.
On Saturday, May 16th, Brooklyn will come alive with live acoustic performances from some of Grenada's top local acts, setting the stage for an evening that celebrates culture, cuisine, and community. Set in an atmosphere of refined elegance, guests will enjoy a curated Caribbean culinary experience. The evening will also feature a special keynote address by the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada. This premier fundraising affair promises an unforgettable experience where flavor, music, and purpose come together for a truly meaningful evening. Tickets are available now on GoToFate and Eventbrite. Secure yours early and be part of an extraordinary night. Spice Indulgence.
Hi, I want $10 on Playway, $20 backup on Pick 3, and cash for each, please.
Okay, are you adding multi-X to your bet?
Yes, multi-X, all of them.
Smart! Best value bet. Backup and multi-X, you cannot go wrong.
Don't matter the bet, multi-X all of the daily games.
With multi-X added, your winnings can be multiplied 3 times, 5 times, even 7 times. So make it a rule. Add multi-X to all your Playway, daily Pick 3, and daily cash for bets every day and for every drop, and watch your money grow. Available at stores and online.
You heard it here. Multiply your winnings daily. Must be 18 or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
Happy to be in the air chair. Once again, another Tuesday. It's Tuesday. So you know what it is. You know what it means. What's pissing you off? This particular program, guys, as I said, every single week, it's a program for you. Now, we know that you go through the week, you go through the days, and, you know, things that just stuck in your craw, get you so annoyed, so pissed off, right? And we see it every week. There's new things pissing people off. So this program is for you, our viewers, all right, to tell us what's on your mind. By the looks of things, guys, there are so many things pissing our viewers off today. I think we will have an extended program. No lie. So let me do the thing right now. Let me do it before I ask anybody else to do it, which you guys should already know what to do. At followers. Send a tag to everybody. Tag all your friends. You could do 2 things. You can either add followers or just go through all your friend list and tag everybody. But it's easier to do add followers because all your friends are then going to get notification. Jellyanne McIntyre, thank you so much. You see? See? Nice compliment coming from Jellyanne. I appreciate it. Susan, how you doing? Doris Martin Charles, how you doing? Thank you and welcome to the ride. Nice. Lydia James, you share? All right, guys. So here are some of the things that we're hoping to get to talk about today, right? I'm not sure you guys heard about the video that went viral from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, this teacher, English teacher from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that video circulated on social media where she is getting roughed up, manhandled by police officers. Now, a lot of people don't understand the whole story behind what transpired or what they saw on camera. So the teacher, she's here with us today, the former teacher, former educator. Her name is Miss Charmaine Joseph. She is here to explain the whole entire story, what transpired. It's crazy stuff, right? That's 1. 2. Guys, today, right, a tariff has just gone into effect where the United States will be putting a 25+% tariff or so on goods from Canada and Mexico, and also an additional 10% or so on goods coming from China. Now, a lot of people, I keep saying this thing, election has consequences. And this is one of the things I want to speak about the consequence of a vote. Because what we're going to see right now is not only this is a back and forth fight between Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Essentially, this is going to affect everybody around the world. Some might feel it more than others, but you see the Caribbean community, they say when we sneeze in the US and the bigger countries, you catch a pneumonia in the Caribbean. So for everybody who would regularly get their barrels and all of this stuff coming from these countries, Canada and the United States, will see very soon, if this whole thing continue to go like how we go in there right now, very soon you guys are going to start seeing less and less remittances, less and less barrels, and all the things that you're grown accustomed to coming into the Caribbean. Because what's going to happen is that everything in Canada, and the stuff that you go get at the grocery stores, is going to increase in prices as much as probably 25, 30% more than 25%. Because the tariffs that are being now attached onto whatever is imported through Canada and whatever is coming back to the United States, because it's a tariff war. The source market of those, because the source market, the items, let's say for instance, I'm Walmart. Say for instance, I'm Walmart, and I have to buy something, and it's coming in from Canada. And Canada, to bring it into the United States, is additional 25%. Now, I might still get the item as Target or as Walmart. I might still get the item, and I'll pay the 25%. But guess who is going to end up paying the 25, 30% that I just paid? You, the consumers, because I'm going to pass on that bill to somebody. I'm not just going to pay 25%. So at the end of the day, guys, what we will see, I firmly believe, is an increase in everything. Everything. If you're buying a new car, it will cost thousands more. If you go into the grocery store, even electricity, right? Because what a lot of people don't understand is the connection between the Canadian and the power grid and how much it feeds into the US, to New York especially, and the whole New York area. So we are going to be in for, I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but we are in for some hard times ahead if this thing continues. So that's pissing a lot of people off. And I hope, for those of you who voted who voted strongly for the party in power, the president, I don't know how, when, if, or where, or what's going to happen next, or if anybody going to try to tamper down this tariff war that's going on. But if this continues for a long time, guys, this is going to significantly affect all of us, everybody, all right? So that's one thing that's pissing a lot of people off. Also, we saw this, I saw this sporadically. This is rapid fire pissing you off. So sporadically, I saw a video that was circulating on social media, and I was just trying to get the source of it. Well, I know the source of it, but I was just trying to understand the context of it. In relation to something that the Prime Minister said during the rally, right? I did speak to the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister Secretary, and she did express to me that sometime this month, probably next week or so, we'll have the Prime Minister on so he could clarify all of these things. We could chat more on what was said and everything else affecting Grenada. And it's 3 years. They're coming off a very hype convention that was held last Sunday. We're going to talk to the Prime Minister directly on that within the next couple days. But that's on people's mind, and that's people are talking about it back and forth. Also, guys, I want to talk about this really quickly before I bring on my first guest. Things that pissing people off. Now, something happened today, right? And I just want to speak to my employer or folks who are out in the job market and you are seeking job employment or you have a job right now, it is very important, right, that there's something called employee etiquette. Basically, you as an employee have a responsibility because you are hired to do a particular job. And if you are hired to do a particular job, that is your responsibility, right? So somebody called me today, and it was based on a rogue employee that I had a few months ago that worked for me. And the person left in a big uproar. They left and they left in chaos, right? It was a chaotic quit. The person just quit the job, in other words. So today now, apparently the person went to get a job someplace, right? And guess who have to give a recommendation for the person? Guess who have to now give a recommendation? Yeah, yours truly. And I won't tell you guys what the recommendation was, but the sake of hire and not hire of this particular individual laid heavily in my hands. So I just want you to think about this stuff, right? Because every time you go through life and you feel you burn bridges, you may have to cross over that bridge sometime again. So be very careful about that. Be very, very careful about that. So my policy is don't burn bridges. Don't burn bridges. Moving on, rapid fire. Now, earlier this week, I addressed a few people because after Black Adan won, the soccer champion in Trinidad and Tobago, there was a few people who were disgruntled, upset. They put out some videos out there that I really didn't agree with. So I voiced my opinion on that. And my take on it was, we have to stop trying to miniaturize the whole situation and the significance of what Black Adan has done, right? And I also said in the video that the Soca Champion is an international Soca Monarch type of event. And it seemed to me that every time we have this international Soca Monarch that goes into Trinidad, which is open to other Caribbean islands, the only time you find or you hear some uproar from some people, not everybody, because a lot of Trinidadians, they love Black Adan, they love Mr. Killer, they love the whole, the whole vibe of the music, bringing in the different Caribbean islands. They benefit from it dramatically. So they not all Trinidadians are feeling that way. But the sentiments that was echoed by this individual that I had to come hit him back on, it seemed to me like he was saying Black Adan should have never win because of all of these different things. Mind you, Black Adan followed all the criteria as listed in the rules and regulation by the Ultimate Soca Champion. And he won, fair and square. But the only reason why some people was up in arms about it was because he won. Because although they're speaking about it and they're talking about how Black Adan and the rules should never be like this, they're not saying anything about the other artists like Dash. Dash performed. Dash didn't win. Up to now, nobody talking about Dash. And Dash shouldn't be there. Nobody ain't saying nothing. So I had to hit back on it because that pissed me off. And to the individual that I lash back at, there is no animosity between me and the individual. I listened to his music, but I just had to make a point, right? I just felt it was necessary to make a point, which I did. And a couple other stuff that was said in the video where he said, oh, the reason why Trinidadians don't compete in other Soca Monarch was because the carnival is in a specific time frame and they cannot compete because of the time of the song release, all kind of mumbo jumbo stuff. So I had to clarify that and state that that was not the case why Trinidadian was not in other Soca Monarch. The truth and the fact is, there is no international Soca Monarch in Grenada. or St. Vincent and the Grenadines, right? So I had to make that very clear because that was pissing me off. All right, so those are the 4 things, rapid fire, I wanted to talk about really quickly, all right? And we'll get back to some other things that's pissing you off and pissing off our viewers. Okay, so let's get into this story right now, guys. Now, this school teacher, as I told you, from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, earlier today, this video was released on social media. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see it. It's a distressed individual inside of a building and pleading that she have information and she wanted clarification on certain matters. And police showed up. And these police that you're seeing right there from the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force basically escorted her out of the building, right? Yeah. All of that happened. There was some blackout points. All of that was recorded. And she's there yelling and screaming because there was manhandling her, basically, from what we saw in the video, out of the building. That's her outside crying and screaming because of the treatment that she went through during the process. Now, although all of this stuff, all of this video circulated, people didn't really understand the full context as to what transpired. So joining me right now from St. Vincent and the Grenadines is Miss Charmaine Joseph. Now, Charmaine is the person in that video right there. She is the former English teacher from St. Vincent and the Grenadines to basically bring this whole story into context for us. Charmaine, welcome to the ride. How are you doing?
Good night. Nice being here with you. I'm doing well, all things considered.
Yeah. I still lost your voice.
Yesterday was an experience. So, yeah.
Right. Okay, Charmaine, take us to the beginning. What really happened? Walk us back a bit, because from the video, what we're seeing is that you're inside of the building and you're asking for your clarification on your vacation days. That's basically what I understood from what's happening here. So take us back a bit. What happened? Why were you there? And tell us a little bit about what transpired.
Okay, so good night, everyone. And I am going to just relay as much of the story as I can in a very succinct manner. But I just want to let everyone know that the issues that I have been going through at the Ministry of Education in St. Vincent and the Grenadines started in 2021. It started in December of 2021, where at my previous institution, individuals leveraged my personal connection to high-ranking officials in the ministry because my husband is the brother of the cabinet secretary. And at my previous institution, there was certain misuse of authority and abuse of authority that led me to request a transfer. So when I was given this transfer after multiple meetings, fighting for a transfer from the environment, away from the individuals who were perpetuating these rumors and these unethical working conditions, I was placed at another institution, which is an adult learning institution.
Right. At
this institution, they teach skills, and one of the skills is supposed to be furniture making. So there is a full workshop at the institution. However, students are not given the full benefit of the institution and the resources there because the zonal coordinator, he operates a private carpentry business out of the workshop area of the school. I then lodged numerous reports. I even lodged reports on the first report came in May 26, 2023. That report was dismissed. All other reports were dismissed. In December of 2024, I decided I am going to engage a lawyer to petition the Public Service Commission to investigate these matters.
Right.
because I will not be returning to the institution given the fact that when I first reported the incident, the coordinator threatened me and the secretary, who is also a close friend of his, also threatened me with violence because of my activism. So in December, when I sent the letter from my lawyer, my counsel, to the Public Service Commission, they halted my full salary, which contravenes the Part 5 section of the Public Service Commissions, which states you are not allowed to take any civil servant's full salary, even if they're under investigation, until the full investigation has been carried out. And the reason for the disciplinary action is clearly stated in a Public Service Committee meeting. I did not have the benefit of any of that. All I knew was my salary did not come that month. And when I called the Public Service Commission to inquire, they told me that they're going to cease my salary until I have a subsequent meeting with them. This was scheduled for the 18th of February. On the 18th of February, I attended the meeting expecting that the Public Service Commissioner would have had the dossier of evidences proving that this man is operating his private carpentry business, as well as other reports of threats of violence on the workplace, non-conducive working conditions because he operates the machinery while I'm teaching, so the dust and the noise affect my students. The commissioner turned up to the meeting without the documents, claiming that he has no idea what I'm talking about and insisted that I go back to my job. I told them, well, seeing that this decision is not fair, I would like them to submit whatever decision they have made to me so that I can be guided. He told me to have a nice day and I left the meeting. I gave them 7 days. 7 days is the stipulated amount of days where the commission has to respond. So when I realized after the 7-day mark, I did not receive any correspondence, I then decided that I cannot move forward in this ministry because of the numerous corruption and unethical working practices that is clearly affecting my ability to operate professionally and offer the full services which I'm employed to give to my students. So I went up to the Public Service Commission on Monday, the 3rd, to ask for my accrued vacation days so that I can attach it with this letter of resignation. Bear in mind, I have not been paid by this ministry for the past 2 months. I have not drawn a salary, whether in part or in full, for 2025. So I waited. After they told me they will get the information, I waited half an hour, 30 minutes. No one came with the information I requested. Instead, the police officers that you see in the video, they are CID officers, criminal investigative officers, who turned up claiming that they received a call of public disturbance of the peace, and they are there to escort me. At this time, I understand that officers should be abreast of the situation, so I decided to speak on the business that I am conducting, as well as the nature of the business and the information I'm requesting. At this time, the officer grabbed my phone. I asked them not to grab my phone. At this time, they kept coming very close to me, invading my personal space, which is why you hear me keep saying, get away from me, get away from me. At this time, the officer grabbed my hand and decided to throw me on the floor and then drag me by my hair. So when the footage is lost, it's when my phone catapulted out of my hands when I was thrown to the floor by the male officer, then dragged by my hair and my both hands by the 2 male officers that you see there, Constable Henry and Officer Dorsey. The female auxiliary officers were there trying to collect my person, my bag, my shoes, my letters, my phone. I was then dragged down 3 flights of stairs and then put on display basically at the front of the ministerial building while they awaited the arrival of the police transport. When I reached into the police transport, the officer Hamilton, who was driving the transport, pulled away my phone, stating that I cannot have my phone while I'm in police custody. I told him custody is when you're arrested or you have a warrant or something. The most you can ask me to do is accompany you to lodge my own report because I have not committed a crime. They still carried me around to the CID office at the Central Police Department. When I got there, I asked if I can still have my phone. They told me no and dragged me out of the police transport onto the floor. I stood up and I walked up the stair to the office. When I got at the office, the head of the CID department, Superintendent Francis, came out and said, "What's going on out there?" I said, "I don't know because I was just at the service commissions where I am employed." And then in my resignation, he said, "Wait, come with me, let's talk about it." He led me to a room down a hall, and when I got to the room, there was a cell in the room with a young man detained in the cell. He opened the cell and told the young man to get out. And then he said, "Get in." I said, "Why am I being?" And before I can finish the sentence, he took his 2 hands and pushed me he pushed my purse, pushed my body with his 2 hands so that I landed face forward in the cell. But my legs were still outside, so he told the officer to drag me further in. And then he slammed the gate. While there, I kept asking for a phone call to contact my husband and my lawyer because I have a young child and my husband only expected me to go into town to drop off these documents, which shouldn't have been long. I was denied a phone call. I was denied any access to speak to my family or my lawyer. I even asked to use the bathroom. I was denied. The officer who was at the desk, he called 3 times for them to send a female officer. This was Officer Burke 493, called 3 times in the space of about 4 hours, asking for me to use the bathroom, and no officer came. So I relieved myself in a water bottle I had in the cell. And then I cleaned up the rest of the mess. When my lawyer arrived and asked what was I affording, and I said nothing, no meal, nothing. And when I showed him the bottle with the urine, that is when the female officer, she arrived and said that she will escort me to discard the bottle of urine. At this point, I was then allowed to use the bathroom. And then my lawyer stepped in, where we had a conversation with the commissioner of police, where he basically told me, "Please take my bags and leave."
Okay, so let's go back a little bit because this seems sort of crazy to me. First of all, you went into that building inquiring. Why police had to get involved if you're just going to make an inquiry? Why did the police show up in a squad just to facilitate a request of inquiry?
I have no idea, because when the officers arrived, and I have footage of when the officers arrived because I was doing a private vlog before I went publicly live. The officers passed me in the hall and told me good morning. I said good morning. And they passed me straight and went to the back, which means that the officers, when they arrived, did not find any disturbance because they did not identify me as the disturbance, nor tell me anything that I'm causing a disturbance. However, after they came back from the back, I guess whatever directive, or I don't know, but whatever information they got from the back led them to assume that I was the one causing the disturbance. And at this time, the officer is standing there saying, "Cordon off the suspect, go and call the 2 extra auxiliary officers And I'm there standing wondering what is happening, not realizing that they're basically setting up this sting operation right before my eyes. I said nothing throughout this because it had nothing to do with me until the officer identified himself and then said he was there specifically for me. I don't
But
know
you're
why they
saying,
were called.
but you're saying stuff like sting operation and command and all of these things. It seems as something criminal was going down. It seems as all of these words you would use if someone suspect some kind of criminal activity, like you were there to do something, you were there to disturb the peace, you were there to fight, you were there to create chaos. Why someone just going to seek a request for documentation? What was it? Okay, was it that he was loud? Was it that he was making excessive noise that was disturbing the peace? Was it anything like that?
No, I have the footage. I can release the footage, right? And I will release the footage in time. And this footage was simply a vlog of me documenting this final chapter in my life. I've been an educator for almost 20 years. I joined the service in 2006. And I have worked assiduously with students. I have dedicated my career, my life, my purpose. I say teaching is my ikigai. I operate my podcast and my YouTube for teaching. Like, I had no reason to assume that I'll be recording because I am there to conduct criminal activity. Criminals don't record their activities. So the mere fact that I'm recording all this time suggests that I'm not there to have any incriminating information documented about my behavior. But I am aware that I have mentioned that there is criminal activity in the ministry because using the government's office and resources of the public, of taxpayers, for your personal gain is a criminal offense, indictable of up to 3 years with a fine. As a matter of fact, a young lady recently was arrested and charged and incarcerated from the Ministry of Transportation and Works, the Bragsa department, having stolen some tires for her personal gain. So the law is there and the law is clear, and the Constitution should guide all of us on our public practice as civil servants. So they know that I am there because I have been very public about the criminal offense that has been happening at my school. So I don't know why the criminal is labeled as the person who is speaking out against the crimes and who is recording and documenting for transparency and objectivity and integrity purposes. Because I have had years of experience in this service where information that is transmitted is easily contorted, misconstrued, and so on. And I have learned to take extensive documentation, as I am guided to do by the civil service orders when conducting my professional duties. So I have done so over the years, and because of that, there has been no professional allegation or any professional infraction that they can say that I am guilty of, much less to a criminal infraction. So I am not aware as to the reason which prompted them to call the police. But when the footage of me peacefully standing there, engaging quite jovially with the people who are waiting in the line and soliciting services, because I even met my former co-worker and we engaged in conversation while we were there. I was very jovial. I did not disrespect anyone. I kept inquiring, like, is there anything that I can do to speed up this process? Like, can I leave these documents with you, or can you give me an envelope so that I can leave them at the desk? Can I speak to the individual directly so maybe I can deliver them directly? How much longer do I have to wait? Is this all of this I'm asking very politely, and I am waiting for this half an hour period. So I don't know what led them to assume that I'm a criminal so that they will call the crime department to detain me.
All right, let's take a look back at this video again with audio so we could add some further context to what happened. This is the audio. This is the clip that you're watching now with some audio. Listen in.
Constable Henry, I am here at the Service Commission to deliver triplicate. Mister, do not touch my phone. Do not touch my. I am here to deliver triplicates of my letter of resignation. In order to submit my letter of resignation, I need to know how many vacation days I have. I have 30 minutes of footage where I am asking for my vacation days information and the cover letter to support my resignation. Do you believe these people call a whole platoon to say I am disturbing the peace? I am literally waiting. I have footage since I have entered the ministry. Since I have entered this ministerial building, I have live footage of everything that I have done. I have not shown any situation where I am disrupting the peace. These people, instead of telling me how many vacation days I have, instead of divulging how many vacation days I have, these people have called the police for me. Here are my triplicates. I am up here doing business. Let me read my documents. I am writing to formally resign from my position as a teacher within the Ministry of Education, effective immediately. I am asking for my vacation days. These people call the police. Stop jamming up on me. I'm a married man. I'm a married woman. Stop jamming up. Listen, stop touching me. I am a married woman. Marshall, I let go. Let go of. Let go of me. Let go of me. Marshall, these people are arrested. Marshall, these people are pulling me. What have I had? I have not done anything. Please.
All right. I'm trying. I don't understand. I think a lot of people watching this feeling the same way. They don't understand how a simple procedure as requesting documentation turned into something, a squabble like this. You getting locked up into a cell, pushed, land on your face, manhandled, pushed into a car. Do you believe that there's some ulterior motive? Is it someone trying to shut you up? Is there something else in the back of the scene beyond what?
Yes, there is something in the back of the scene. My husband, his sister, is the cabinet secretary, and she works in the highest office of the land. She works in the office of the prime minister as the cabinet secretary. The individuals who have been consistently disregarding my reports, but at the same time sending me emails stating that they have meetings that they will cancel. All of these individuals are individuals who are closely connected to her. Needless to say, my husband and I are not close to her. And she has expressed that she was the one who first started rumors about me. I have been very public with WhatsApp messages, etc., on my personal page, basically outlining the nature of the relationship. So I know where the power is, but I don't understand what is the principle, because we are all officers and we all are guided by the documentation. And if you're being asked to do something that you know that contravenes the documentation that guides your practice, you are in your full right to deny, to denounce, or to just refuse to act outside of your jurisdiction and your job description. So I don't understand how all of these things are being overlooked, but I do know where the power is. I understand the power, but I don't understand the principles where even officers who I've never met in my life can approach me with such enmity and such vitriol, and they have nothing to say that I have done to them personally, but they clearly showed up with an agenda, because even one of the officers said to me, "You are lucky." So I'm saying to myself, I have already endured so much. I have already been treated so unfairly. Like, what did you have in mind for her to say, I am lucky? As in, did you have something worse in mind? And because I am recording, or because of the situation of how I handle it, that it was not carried out. But it's a loaded statement when she said, I am lucky. Lucky to what? Lucky to have my life. I didn't consider this a lucky situation. So for her to look at it and say, well, all things considered, you are lucky, it means that I guess they would have had a much dire fate in mind for me. I don't know these people.
Right. Okay, we got a caller on the line. Let's go to the phone lines right now. We got a call on the line. Caller, you're live. Hello?
Hey, Junior, good night. This is Adriana from St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Hey, Adriana.
Good night, Shemaine.
Good night, Adriana. Thank you so much for all the help you gave me yesterday.
Shemaine, that's just basic thing, okay? That's basic. Junior, this whole thing, somebody messaged me today and they said, what's happening with Charmaine reminds me so much of what happened with you. And I could name other women, who have been treated in this sort of manner by the police. Our police needs serious training. Even when, I got the message that Charmaine was taken by the police, and I called the station, I spoke to a Corporal Barber, and he refused, like blatantly refused to go to her, find out from her whether or not she was able to reach her husband and whether or not she was able to get a lawyer. And I said to him, but I've been trying to call her, I can't get her, so does that mean that you have her phone? Yes, we have the phone. I said, so you confiscated her phone? Who gave you the right to do that? And his response was, confiscate is a strong word. I said, but you're doing a strong job. Because if a judge doesn't give you permission to have this lady's phone, you didn't arrest her and log it in properties, quote unquote. You just have her phone. By what right? And denying her the opportunity to get in touch with a lawyer. I had to make so many phone calls to finally get one police officer who then went over to her and asked, well, okay, did you get your husband? Did you get a lawyer? No. She could have been there all day. And Junior, from experience, we know they would keep me there overnight. They have kept me there overnight without food and rest before. So I knew what Charmaine was facing. And it scared me because whenever I was placed in that situation, it's happened more than once, there are things that go through your mind. As a mother, you worry about your child more than anything else. Are they okay? This time away from them, how it's going to affect them. These are the things that bother you more than anything else. You could be there in the worst situation and you're good. You find something to distract your mind, but your ultimate worry is always your child. What are they doing? How are they going to cope without me tonight? And the police force in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I'm calling on Enfield Williams, the present police commissioner, to do better. Women should not be treated like this, let alone simply for standing up for your rights. Nobody. I got a call from somebody at in the ministry there. That was the first person who called me, and they did not give me the impression that Charmaine was there doing anything that was out of the ordinary or ridiculous or anything like that. They called me out of concern because of the way police officers had her on the ground and were treating her. That's why they called. And so people need to understand, Vincentians especially need to understand that even though the police officers are there, they're simply representatives of. They don't make the laws, they don't carry out, they don't know to give you penalties for breaking the law. That's not their duty. It is not. And when they're called into a situation, if they're not trained to de-escalate, this is what happens. They, as far as I am seeing here, and from what I've been told, they're the ones who escalated the situation. And to take her into the barracks and have a senior police officer slam her to the prison floor. Come on, man. Come on. And this is the same officer, Superintendent Clausen Francis, who had a matter with Kenson, and they lost. One of the things the judge said in that matter was that when you're given a duty to carry out, you have to settle within your own, what you're doing is lawful. You know? So I just wanted to say, Charmaine, girl, you have my fullest support. And
All right.
Thank you.
Much, Adriana, for your input on
And
that.
and let me give you a little backstory. Adrian and I go way back. The first time that a school in St. Vincent and the Grenadines received 100% passes in English A, Adrian and I were working at that institution. And we were what we call the dream team. That was our bragging rights, and it has been our bragging rights for the last 10 years that we achieve 100% CSEC passes, peaking in ones. St. Vincent is not having a good time right now where the Ministry of Education is concerned, listing out an education crisis. And yet, I am a teacher. I'm a teacher who is speaking against corruption. I am being victimized. I'm being abused. Adriana is a teacher. She's an activist outside of the classroom for more important issues affecting the job like vaccination and so on. Adriana is being affected. And then we have the teachers who are just innocently stating that I am not sure if I want to take this vaccine as yet. Give me some time. And then they were forced to leave and discarded, and I said to myself, these are different incidences in the same ministry where the workers are not giving fair treatment. And there is no one to speak on our behalf, because even the parents of the children that we teach, that we mold, that we prepare for the future, they're very silent on these matters at times. And they don't realize that if we all decide to resign and walk away, it's going to be very dire for them, because the thing is, I'm a certified teacher. So whether I leave the Ministry of Education, I'm still a teacher. But are you willing to pay me $180 and upwards to teach your child when this child could have been receiving this education via public resources? Right. So the parents really need to consider the position that they're putting teachers in, because they're going to be forcing teachers to seek private employment and even entrepreneurial employment, which we are full-fledged to do with our credentials and our certifications.
Yeah. Do you think is because you're an advocate that you speak out strongly on the issue that you believe in? That's why, or was one of the main reasons that you were targeted?
I would say yesterday when I was in the cell, couple of my students who saw the live came by to, give their support. So one of them said, "Miss, are you okay?" I said, "Yes, I'm fine, honey. When do you know me to never, ever not be okay?" And she said, "But Miss, this is a lot." And I said, "Sweetheart, we have read these poems. We have read these books. We have analyzed these characters. When these heroes and activists and revolutionists are labeled as these things, these people did not foresee themselves in this position. All they wanted was righteousness and fairness to be upheld. And somebody had to speak on it, because evil prevail when good men fail to act." And I know a lot of teachers, because the nature of our job is to interact with children. And if you're a mother and if you're a human, the Bible says, "Suffer little children to come unto me." And if you are a teacher and you're interacting with children daily, you cannot sit by and see children being disadvantaged by the system, robbed by the system, overlooked by the system, left behind by the system. And the evidences are there in the policy reports. The evidences are there in the data analyses. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, UNICEF states that only 30% of our students receive a full CSEC certificate of English, math, and 3 other subjects. That means only 30% of our students can attend a tertiary level institution. And in the region, only about 5%, 4.9% of students are afforded that luxury. I think as a nation, we have more things to consider than a personal teacher or a specific individual within the ministry. We are in an education crisis. It's your children, your future. When we do not have professionals to do the things that we need to do on the island, what is going to become of us? Are we going to sit down like how we do not have a psychiatrist on the island? So our special education needs students cannot get early screening. They cannot get individual education plans. And there are people who are taking taxpayers' money and they're using it for their personal gain. This is an affront to taxpayers. This is public mistrust at the highest level. For children, we are robbing our children so that adults can get rich off of unethical practices and lack of professionalism. I am not an activist or any way. I'm just thinking this is not right. And I speak for what is right. I guess that makes me an activist because there is no one who is doing activity trying to make it better. So I don't know if because I am speaking out why I'm being targeted, or me speaking out just facilitates a justification for being targeted, because like I said, I know this is personally driven but powered by politics. At the end of the day, this is not my battle alone, because I'm not the one who is losing anything by this. I literally went to resign from a job and give up my pension and all of my benefits after 20 years. I only have 13 more years to go to make my 33 and a third. And I am willing to walk away from that because I cannot sit by and allow this and see this and be a part of this, because my students who do not know will just say the education system failed me. My teachers failed me. I do not wish to ever be labeled, nor have I ever been labeled as a teacher who has left any child behind.
Yeah. What was the charges?
I was not charged, sir. I was not charged, sir. When I went into the office with the commissioner, because my husband was there and my two lawyers were there, after my husband explained, Mr. Commissioner, we have worked together on previous projects. So you know me very well because I am the National Liaison Officer, or the former National Liaison Officer for the IAEA, which is the atomic agency in Austria that deals with radioactive and nuclear stuff. The officer said, yes, I remember you. Let's go into a private room and have a discussion. So we went into the office. When I got there, he simply said that he's only here to just give us a little talk and send me home. So I said, no, why was I detained? He said, well, you know, I got a call on my direct line. So I dispatched officers. So I said, well, the same efficacy and effectiveness that you dispatched the officers for the private call, don't you think it's the same efficacy you should have followed up to hear what happened when the suspect was detained, or when the teacher came down? I had to be sitting in that cell for hours just to find out that there is no charge. So he then said, well, you know, I just want to talk to you. You're a young professional. I said, well, I was a young professional when I was being dragged. You know, and he said, well, I'm just here to talk to you. And when I'm finished, you can get your bags and leave.
Wow.
Your phone and leave. So I said, well, what is the charge that I was detained? He said to me, the CID, the call that he got from the Service Commission stated that I went into a meeting and I had an altercation with an auxiliary officer where I kicked the officer, so they called the police. He said, let the officer come and speak who was alleged to be kicked. When the officer came in the room, he said, tell me what happened. He said, she kicked me. Right? So I said, no, start from the beginning, please. She said, I can't start from the beginning because I wasn't there from the beginning. So I said, well, if she is the catalyst that led to the call, And she's saying she wasn't there from the beginning. What and where was the beginning? So then my husband asked, so when did she kick you? She said, when I went to take away her phone when she was on the ground. So he said, well, why was my wife on the ground? Because if I'm the one escalating the matter, why am I on the floor? At this time, he told her, don't answer the question. Thank you, go out the office. And then he asked me again to take my bags and my phone and leave.
So the call that he got in response, it was a call basically of disorderly conduct, or someone in the building that was being disorderly, correct?
Yes.
I see. So that's what I was trying to understand. Why would the police show up if all it was that you going in there to give papers for your vacation? How did it escalate? So there was some misunderstanding within before that escalated.
No, there was no misunderstanding, because until the point where the CID, remember when the CID officers came, the 2 auxiliary police were then summoned. They were not even there with them. Even in the audio of the video, you can hear the auxiliary officer saying, I was not told what's the matter. And the other one saying, well, I don't know, because it is the traffic transport that brought me here. So there was actually no auxiliary officer anywhere in the building for me to even assault any officer. All the officers who were present there came with the CID officers. So if they got a call stating that I was assaulting an officer, there was no officer there. They met me in the hall, not in a meeting, and they passed and they told me good morning. And then they asked for the other officers to come. So if there were no officers in the building, which means you didn't have a need for an officer. So when the person made the call and said I was assaulting an officer, as the COP, the chief, the commissioner of police stated was the nature of the call, that I was not even there for a meeting. I had no communication with any officials in that building. They were in meetings. I was not. I even asked if I can submit my letters in an envelope and have them drop it to them in the meeting, and they read it after they leave the meeting. And the individual at the front, his name is Sean, he said, I cannot do that. I said, well, it's just like a memo, so just put it in the envelope. They don't need to respond right away. They can contact me after, you know? And he said, no, wait for the lady to tell me how many days I have. So while I'm there waiting, the officers showed up. There was no officer at any point in time who even came and said, good morning to me, or why are you here?
You've been through a lot. This is obviously, I mean, I've seen you on other mediums talking about it. You're really going out there. You're getting the word out around the world. What are you looking for at the end of the day? Is it that you want to send a strong message? What is the message that you want to send?
The only message that I have is a message that comes from God, which is evil prevail when good men fail to act. You understand? The righteous have a responsibility to uphold. Fools scorn wisdom. So if you're a wise individual and you see foolishness happening, you have to speak out against it, right? And my only message is that if you know something wrong is taking place, shallow water needs no anchor. Get it over with and done. You keep digging holes, and these holes keep filling up with water because your arguments and everything that you do is steeped in so much unethical practices. Like, all you need to do is just do a good job. Show up every day to work and do a good job. That's all is required of you for your salary at the end of the month, that you do a good job. And doing a good job means that you understand the policy and the guidelines that inform your practice, and you adhere to them, and you practice your skill and you develop your skill so that each of those tasks become almost automatic every day, so that you do an exemplary job. A full bucket cannot carry water. You cannot add water to a full bucket. When we think we are perfect and there is nothing for us to work on and we cannot do any wrong, we miss opportunities to better ourselves. I am simply saying I am a person who have sat by and seen so much injustice and so much ill practice and bad practices in teaching. And I am seeing the effects of this in our children, in our teenagers, in our young adults who cannot be employed. They have no work ethic. They have no work etiquette. They do have no literacy skills. The education crisis is going to affect employment and the labor market. And I am an adult who is relying on professionals in this country. I have children and I'm expecting them to grow up and have a fair education and a fair access to jobs of their passions. These are the things that I'm looking out for. And I'm just saying all you need to do to be a part of this is to make good decisions and speak for what is right. We can make the change that we want to see, but we cannot do it sitting down waiting for someone else to take up that cross.
Right.
So that's the message that I'm sending. Let's all just be objective, transparent, and be accountable for the things that we do.
Yes. At the end of the day, did you get a chance to find out about your vacation day?
No. As a matter of fact, I did not get an opportunity to officially launch and submit my documents. So technically, I'm still employed. And the irony of this is that months ago, about in September the 17th, my husband applied for his resignation from the Ministry of Education, where he acquired a job at the Argyle International Airport as an accountant. He turned up to the job 3 weeks into September, assuming that the permanent Secretary of Education assured him that his resignation is being processed. 3 weeks into the job as an accountant at the airport, he receives a letter stating that he is fired from the airport and he must return back to the Ministry of Education. My husband has applied for resignation from the Ministry of Education and was denied his resignation, fired from another governmental statutory body organization, and told to return to his former job with lesser pay. When he was asked to leave, he was acting financial manager because the financial manager left for vacation. My husband is a data scientist with a strong background in accounting, auditing, and international relations. He is a data scientist. My husband went at the airport and was doing AI implementation models to optimize their service. While he was there in the 3 weeks, he was able to make about 3 or 4 models. And he was still served a letter stating that he has to go back to the ministry. So the irony is that I am also sending in my resignation and I'm also being denied. So I am saying what type of employment or what type of structure, what type of labor structure are employees not given freedom of expression to leave and resign from the employment that they are basically forced to stay at the institution, even though they are complaining for poor working condition and they have expressed in writing their wishes to leave.
Right. Just our programming note, guys. We open up the phone line. If you have an input and you want to share it, this is your opportunity to call the number that you can call. 718-701-5720. Number on the screen, you could call on WhatsApp or you could call directly. Again, the number is 718-701-5720. That's the number there on the screen. Oftentimes, and I believe today being no exception, this program is going to go viral. But there are a lot of people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines watching it. ANN is streaming this live as well. Right Along is a popular platform inside St. Vincent. So the powers that be most likely are watching this program. They are tuned in. I believe that they are either watching it now or will watch it later. So who do you who do you want to send that message to, and what is that message you want to get out there to those who could make a difference? Sorry, hold on. Let me unmute you. Sorry, go ahead. Start over again. Sorry.
Okay, so the message that I have been stating and I have been reiterating, I would like an audience with the Prime Minister to discuss these matters moving forward. It has gone far beyond just a little grouse at my employment. It is now involved in criminal and civil cases, infractions, and throughout my public announcement of these issues, for somebody who is the Minister of National Security, those officers answer to him. For someone who is the Prime Minister, which is the highest office in the land, who claims that he is the champion for the education revolution, a framework which is informed by the UN Dakar framework, which also informed the No Child Left Behind framework in America, which America has already deemed incompetent and ineffective. The champion for the education revolution, I ask, are you not concerned about the state of the revolution in education in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where teachers are being treated like this, where children are being robbed of a fair and quality education, special education needs students are not being included, and then now you have criminal matters where people are stealing government resources or using government resources for embezzlement and thievery. And then now you involve officers of the state where you give them instruction to maybe assault or accost or detain or shake up. I don't know what was the instruction these officers were given, but clearly, as a man with such power, are you not seeing these things? I would like an office with an audience with the Prime Minister to discuss these matters moving forward. The defamation of my character, public ridicule and scourge, all of the infractions that they have fabricated on my file that I have been asking to be investigated, that I know I have evidences that will exonerate me of every claim that they are refusing to do. My supervisor, Desiree Richards, she is a clinically diagnosed mental patient. She suffers from emotional disorder. She wrote a letter stating that I am mentally ill and unfit to be at my organization. And all I did was inquire about my study leave, because I am pursuing a master's at the University of Birmingham in special education needs inclusion. And I wanted my leave so that I can go and further my education. I was denied that study leave as well. And in my request for the correspondence of that leave, she wrote a letter stating that I'm mentally unfit. And this woman is a medically diagnosed clinical patient who was institutionalized when she had her postpartum episode. She is taking medication for bipolar. And she's the one who wrote the letter, not a medical psychiatrist, no one. And yet this is something that is going around that I am crazy.
Yeah.
But there's a psychiatrist on the island to determine that. So even that letter on my record in my file is defamatory and abuse of office and contravenes the civil service regulations that stipulate that there should not be fraudulent or fake documents or forgery of documents in any manner against an officer.
Yes. We got a caller on the line. Let's take that caller. Caller live. Where are you calling us from?
I'm calling live from Washington, D.C. How are you doing?
Washington, D.C. Go right ahead.
Yes, this is Nell Cyrus out of D.C. Yesterday, I made a strong show of support via my online page on Facebook for my fellow teacher there in D.C. And I wanted to say that I'm so happy that you were not charged, because you were well within your right to ask as an employee of the government for any outstanding time that is owed to you or after or during any time of resignation. How are you doing this evening?
Hold on, let me put that back.
Still processing. Good night. I'm still processing. I watched your live and
Wonderful.
everything that you said, even the feeling that you had that this is a woman who decided I'm walking away from this. I love teaching. I love my children, but I can't do this anymore in these conditions. That was literally my mindset. I'm like, this is a woman who understands the struggle. This is a teacher. Because without me having to say it, with just me expressing the first paragraph of the first few sentences of my resignation letter, you already understood my mindset that this is not something that I revel in. I am not a drama queen. I'm not looking for demerit content. I have my YouTube and my Instagram and my Facebook. I teach on these platforms. I offer free CSEC lessons on my social media platforms. I don't use my social media platforms for this sort of content. I do not revel in this attention, but I realize that it is necessary in order for the message to go around. So I thank you for your support.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, having a platform as a female, and not just in the Caribbean, but someone who is exposed on a larger scale to students. Both my husband and I are also, just like you and your husband, work in the educational field. And so, as they say, who feels it knows, right?
Yes, yes.
So yeah, I want to thank you for your contribution to our education in St. Vincent and for all that you have done to uplift, to assist, and to guide our students in the right direction. And I pray that you continue to, even after your resignation, continue to shape minds however you can. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome, and thank you for the support.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. All right, have a great evening.
All right. I mean, is there any way, under any circumstances, that you might reconsider going back into the classroom?
My classroom is everywhere I am. Like I said, in Japanese culture, there is a concept called ikigai. They use this concept because they do not have a concept of retirement. Japanese do not retire. They find a purpose in life, something that they're good at, something the world needs, something that you can monetize and make a living from, and something that fills you up, that gives you passion. Teaching is my ikigai. I teach as a hobby. I teach in my free time. My classroom is everywhere I am. I can be standing in a supermarket and I can see someone and I can just reach out to them, because teaching is beyond content. It is everything. It is teaching others a love for learning. That is what teachers teach, a love for learning, and skills and strategies on how to make that process easier. The content that we teach is just an adage, but all teachers understand pedagogical theory and pedagogical skills and learning skills, and what it takes to move a student from one zone of proximal development to another, formulating schemas and rising up that Bloom's taxonomy until they get to the point of creation and mastery. That's what we learn, to teach students how to master their intellectual capabilities. Wherever I am a teacher. I will never stop teaching, and I will not be going back to the Ministry of Education to teach. I will teach where I am appreciated and my services will be valued.
Wow. Thank you, Charmaine. We appreciate you. And I hope that you do get into that audience with the Prime Minister where you could share your views. But I'm sure that this message here on Ride Along Live, because I've heard that the Prime Minister is quite fond of this program as well in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we hopefully you do get that meeting with the Prime Minister where you could echo your sentiments and get some kind of resolution to this particular issue. Any last words before we wrap up, Charmaine?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to you, Junior, and thank you to everyone who has shown support, unwavering support, despite naysayers and skeptics. A lot of people have reached out to me telling me that, they appreciate my strength because they understand that it's not just for me, that I'm speaking for the children, for those who are in similar situation like mine in the education system. And I just want to say thank you. You do not know how much those words fill me up, and you do not know how much they strengthen me. So thank you so much for everyone, every student, every person who has expressed their support for what I have been doing. Thank you so much.
Thanks again, Charmaine. My Vinci crew that's watching. Charmaine, we wish you all the best, and we're going to continue to follow up on this story. Yeah, guys, we're speaking there with Charmaine Joseph. Quite a lot said. Very intelligent teacher, and I really appreciate what she continued to do for the youths of the Caribbean. Right, St. Vincent and the Grenadines definitely has an asset. She's a very intelligent person from the way how she were able to articulate everything. I hope something could work out where she could, more the students. And also have Adriana, and they teaming up and getting that 100% pass. That is amazing, all right? So hopefully this thing could work out, could iron out. And it's sad the way how she was treated in that building. The video they certainly should address this, and this should not be continuing to happen. It's quite a sad display. But we're still open up the phone lines, guys. If you want to call in live, the number that you call 718-701-5720. I still want to hear from you if you want to call in live, right along live. If you don't have data, you want to call straight, you could call the same number, 718-701-5720 on the direct line. We want to hear from you as well. All right. I'm going to continue with the phone lines right after these messages. This program is brought to you with the kind compliments of Ride Tuk Tuk Grenada. I would encourage you guys, if you're going to be in Grenada, for family and friends in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, if you're going to be in Grenada and you want to experience the Ride Tuk Tuk experience, or if you want a tour of Grenada via Tuk Tuk, you could always go to the website and book. The website is ride.gd. And probably we should give Charmaine a little vacation to Grenada and give her a nice little, just a relaxing little orbit if in Grenada. Yeah, let's consider that. And somebody could propose that and give her a nice little outing, man. She went through a lot. All right, let's treat Charmaine.
So bright, tune in, feel the light, global love taking flight. Every ride is sheer delight.
Guys, this program is brought to you with the kind compliments of the Grenada Lotteries Authority. Play the games of the National Lotteries Authority, and even if you don't win, you're supporting sports, culture, and nation building. We'll be right back.
Ride along, join the dance, let's sing the song.
What if you had a choice? A choice of joining a line or a choice of making your purchases online? What would you choose? While you ponder on that, the National Lotteries Authority has provided another purchasing option. All their games are now available online. Yes, Grenadians. From wherever you are, purchase your favorite daily and jackpot type games using any electronic device. Register on the NLA's website at www.nla.gd. Top up your account and enjoy online lottery gaming at your convenience. We're taking shopping comfort up several notches, but the choice is yours. Join a line or buy online. NLA, make your dreams come true.
The sun is hot, the breeze is slow. I need a ride. Where do I go? Ride go, yeah. That's the name. Island roads will never feel the same. Tap the app, Just one click, hopping fast, it's real quick. Right go, where do you wanna go? To the beach, to the street, let the island flow. Right go, the good vibe show, fastest growing ride, everybody know. Right go, where do you wanna go? To the beach, to the street, let the island flow. Right go, let the good vibe show, fastest growing ride, everybody know.
Where do you want to go?
On Saturday, May 16th, Brooklyn will come alive with live acoustic performances from some of Grenada's top local acts, setting the stage for an evening that celebrates culture, cuisine, and community. Set in an atmosphere of refined elegance, guests will enjoy a curated Caribbean culinary experience. The evening will also feature a special keynote address by the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada. This premier fundraising affair promises an unforgettable experience where flavor, music, and purpose come together for a truly meaningful evening. Tickets are available now on GoToFate and Eventbrite. Secure yours early and be part of an extraordinary night. Spice Indulgence, an evening of heritage, connection, and impact.